visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So today we'll continue with our discussion of tectonics and sedimentation. And in the last class, I actually concluded my discussion with the rift and the opening of the proto-basin with example of Atlantic, Gulf of Aden. So from that point onward, we'll basically continue our discussion. So what exactly we discussed in the last class is that when a rift, it is in a extensional domain, rift, extensional domain, extensional. So it is actually a intercontinental rift when it starts. That is a intercontinental rift. If I start with the intercontinental rift, and then I get, this is the kind of situation I get. So this is a rift. And when it is purely, suppose it is purely intercontinental, it is purely intercontinental. Entirely it is remaining in the continental. So then we call it a intercontinental rift. Now the stretching, it continues. It continues. And if it continues, then it becomes it is continuing further. And then what you are getting, that you are getting, suppose this is the continental crust, and then you have the input from the, because of the stretching, the basaltic magma, because you are stretching it and you are opening a basin with intrusion of the basaltic magma. So in a continental crust, when you are inputting the basaltic magma, what you are generating here? You are generating here a transitional crust. So what is the transitional crust? That when in a continental crust, we are basically putting the basaltic magma intrusion within the continental crust. So continental crust is essentially a sialic crust, and a sialic crust is silica and aluminium rich. It should not be iron, magnesium rich. So a continental crust, which is essentially sialic in nature with silica and aluminium, you are putting, because of the extension and the upcoming of the magma, you are actually allowing the upcoming magma to invade into the continental crust, and you are thereby generating a transitional crust. So first it will make a transitional crust, and then it will become hot also. It will become hot. So it will be thermally relaxed. With time, it is thermally relaxed, and it will be also, so that will cause a subsidence, and it will be, there will be filling of the water and sediment. There will be filling of the water and sediment. So water and sediment subsidence. And this will actually, there is input of the magma, and then the whole thing is subsiding. So if this continuation of the extension goes on, and this what we call the opening of a proto-ocean basin. This is what we call the opening of a proto-ocean basin. Okay, and this proto-ocean basin, that basically what kind of sediment it will get? It will get sediment from the continental crust from either side of the basin. So proto-ocean basin, it will be essentially the arcosic sediment, and it will be basically derived from the continental crust on either side of the rift. Okay. Now the stretching still continues. Stretching still continues. So what you are getting with time, what you will get here, you will get a development of a mid-oceanic ridge. That means the spreading, the full-scale spreading has started because of the stretching. And the two parts, so these two parts, they will go away with one another. Is it visible what I am showing? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the two parts that will go away from one another. And not only it will go away from one another, that with time, so as it is going away with time, that will be thermally relaxed, subsided, and water and sediment load, that also will be affecting it. So what you will get? So you started with a rift. Now you have reached to a stage of drift. So now, because of this formation of a mid-oceanic ridges and the spreading, active spreading that has formed, then the two parts of the rift, they are going away from one another. And when it goes away from this active spreading center, then with time, the crust becomes cool, it subsides, and then it adds to the more load of the sediment and water and further subsides. Okay? This is what is the drift stage. Now, when I will come to you that what will be the product, how we identify the different products, that I will come later. This will be continuing for several tens to hundreds of million years. Tens to hundreds of million years. Opening of the Pacific Ocean, opening of the Atlantic Ocean, all these that basically, this actually what I am talking about, this has been talked about as a Wilson cycle. When we talk about the Wilson cycle, this is actually the Wilson cycle that I am talking about. And this is with time, this has gone. Now, what will happen that if this activity, it goes on for tens to hundreds of million years, but there will be an end of all this activity. There will be always an end of all this activity. So then finally, what you will be getting, suppose if I concentrate on this margin. So this margin then, now what is happening to this margin? That this is now shifted from the mid-oceanic ridge for a large distance. And it has been thermally relaxed, it has been subsided, it has taken the load of the sediment and water, and it has now become a passive margin. Now it will become a passive margin. Now, when I see the passive margin, what will be the character of this passive margin? If I see the nature of the crust of the passive margin, you have a continental crust here, you have a transitional crust here, because it has been inherited from this transitional crust here. This transitional crust will be here, and then it will lead to a oceanic crust here. So you have a continental crust, you have a transitional crust, you have an oceanic crust. And that will be the entire stretch of the passive margin. So it started with a rift, it remained as an active margin, then it go away from the spreading center and thermally relaxed, the subsided, and it has become now a passive margin. This is what is called the rift drift passive margin transition. Rift drift passive margin transition. Is it okay? You could understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, what will be the pattern of the sedimentation in this entire process? What will be the pattern of sedimentation? Please draw the figure, then I will discuss. Is the figure visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So what is written above the pelagic shale?
Please let me know when you complete the drawing.
Sir, can you read out the terms once?
Okay. So this is written rift and opening of proto-ocean. Then I have written starved pelagic shell. Then this is drift, drift, stage 1. So there is shell and above that periplatform carbonate. Then drift stage 2, shell, carbonate, evaporite. Then this is passive margin, shell, carbonate, salt dome. This is clastic delta.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Is it drawing complete?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what if we start from the top? What is being shown? That what will be the likely sedimentation pattern? We have already discussed that the rift, then drift, and the passive margin formation. If you see the Indian Craton, and if you think of our east coast, now this east coast was part of a Gondwana land. Okay, also the west coast. The east coast part of the Gondwana land, and we all know it was associated with the Antarctica, Madagascar, all these, the Australia. So all these, and we know that in this Gondwana land, the Gondwana basins were formed, which we get not only in India, we get the Gondwana basins, the same Gondwana basin similar in the Australia, in Madagascar. So this shows that all these continents were together. Right? Now they are separated and the ocean basin has been opened between them. Fine. Now, what is the east coast now? Is it a active margin? No, it is not a active margin. It is a passive margin. The east coast is a passive margin. But it possibly started as a rift in the Gondwana land at one point of time. And now it is because it has drifted from that spreading center and now has become the passive margin. Now, if I see the east coast and the Indian craton, the crust of the Indian craton, which is below the east coast of India, then we will see that this crust pattern, it changes from a continental to a transitional to ocean basin, that what I had drawn in my earlier slide. This is a classic example. And what we are getting now in the east coast, a large number of delta. Krishna Godavari, Mahanadi, all these are the deltas. They are supplying the huge sediment in the east coast. Okay. And then if you drill in the east coast, what actually people got, if you see the report of the east coast stratigraphy, they have got that below this delta, there are the rift systems of the Gondwana that is preserved. Okay. And those rift systems, that some of these rift systems, they are the beautiful hydrocarbon prospect for the oil industry, they drill there. Okay. So the rift system that gradually gave way to the drift and now the passive margin. So if we start, just I gave an example from in Indian context that where is the passive margin. Now, when the rift starts, because when a rift starts, there is a spreading and it is going. So there originally there is a starved system. There is not much supply of sediment and you will get the pelagic shell here. But as it will be moving away, then the carbonate platform that may be generated onto this, you will get the large number of organic growth and the carbonate system that will be developing as it goes away from the active spreading center. Sometimes you also get the formation of the evaporite. It all depends upon the climatic zone through which your this part of the rift that is basically. Suppose presently my passive margin is in a desertic area, that it is a area where there is a very less rainfall and very less the activity of the rivers. So it is a desertic area. So my passive margin will not get any form of delta. So in that case, what I will expect in the passive margin? I will expect the formation of the evaporite, formation of the carbonate. That should be the normal character when a passive margin, it is in the in a climatic zone, which is actually a desertic climatic zone. But if a passive margin that is in a humid tropical climate, so passive margin in a humid tropical climate, suppose is our Indian passive margin, there the large scale river systems that will be finally, it will, when it will be subsiding, large scale clastic delta system with active river supply that will be coming and forming the delta. When the river system that will come, then the very commonly this evaporite, because of its low density, it start to buoy up. So evaporite will try to buoy up in the form of salt dome. And that salt dome, which is called the halokinetics, we refer this thing as halokinetics. The salt dome, because of its lower density with respect to the plastics above it, that will try to go up in the form of salt dome. And many of the salt domes, they also form some of the beautiful stratigraphic traps, in this. So these deltas, so you can see the beautiful situation. You have the pelagic shell, you have carbonate, you have the evaporite, and then the clastic delta. The entire package, that is a typical passive margin package. And if you drill in this delta, you will get the remnants of the earlier rift system and the transition. So this is continental crust, this will be the transitional crust, and then you have the oceanic crust. Any question, or if there is any question, you can ask me. Is it clear? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if there is no question, then we will go to the next our discussion. So this is the discussion up to the extensional margin. Now we will go to the compressional margin. Compression. Now, in compressional margin, we know it is actually the arc trench system where we get the compressional margin, where the subduction is going on. So, if we draw a very simplistic diagram of subduction, now this is a plate which is subducting, and you are getting the thrust system. So this is a very simplistic diagram of a subducting subduction margin. So this is the plate which is downgoing, and this is the overriding plate. So this is what we call the arc trench gap. Arc trench gap. Now this arc trench gap, it may vary from 50 kilometer to 200 kilometer. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
50 kilometer to why such huge variation in the arc trench gap from different part? If we go to the Aleutian, if we go to the Pacific, if you go to the Atlantic margin, why this huge difference between the arc trench gap? Anyone can tell me?
Because of the angle of the subduction.
Okay, how it happens? Why it happens?
Sir, I couldn't recall it, but I think this is the reason behind.
No. You are right. What you have said, that is correct. It is because of the angle of subduction, but we have to know that why the angle, suppose the subduction in shallow angle, subduction in the steep angle, what basically controls this angle of subduction? You are right. Your answer is right. But I want to know why somewhere, is it a freak that somewhere that's subduction, people think that I will do it in the shallow. Sometimes
Sir, rate of conversion.
Rate of
Depend on the rate of conversion.
No. What is called rate of convergence? Rate of convergence किसको कहते हैं? अरे घबराओ मत, बताओ ना. I will discussing. We are discussing. I am not asking you question.
सर जो स्पीड पे जितना स्पीड में
नहीं, स्पीड पे तो ठीक है, किसकी स्पीड का बात कर रहे हो?
Sir, plate.
इसकी स्पीड का बात कर रहे हो कि इसकी स्पीड का बात कर रहे हो? ये
Sir,
एक
I
प्लेट है,
could
दिस इज
visit.
नंबर 1, नंबर 2 प्लेट। नंबर 1 प्लेट का स्पीड का बात कर रहे हो, नंबर 2 स्पीड का बात कर रहे हो?
Sir, number 1.
नंबर 1। एनीवन एल्स? सब चुपचाप क्यों बैठे रहते हो, बताओ यार, कम से कम ही इज टॉकिंग।
टी ऑफ द प्लेट पे डिपेंड करता है।
क्या चीज? मैं ठीक से फॉलो नहीं करता, बताओ। हेलो? Anyway, if I don't get any other answer, and who has said that it is on the angle of subduction? नाम क्या है?
Sir, TD.
So he is right. Actually, it depends on the angle of subduction. Now the question comes: why the angle of subduction vary? It varies with the age of the subducting slab. Age of the subducting slab. सबडक्टिंग स्लैब मतलब मैं ये 1 का बात कर रहा हूं, इट इज सबडक्टिंग, इट इज द अंडरगोइंग प्लेट, इट इज ओवर, दिस इज द ओवरराइडिंग प्लेट। कभी भी बात करोगे तो डाउन गोइंग और सबडक्टिंग प्लेट और ओवरराइडिंग प्लेट, ये दोनों के हिसाब, 2 प्लेट है ना, यहाँ एक प्लेट दूसरे के नीचे जा रहा है। Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So when we will be talking very objectively. Very objectively. किसका बात कर रहे हैं हम लोग? We are talking about the downgoing plate, subducting plate, or we are talking about the overriding plate. Now I am talking about the downgoing plate. What I am saying, that the angle of subduction that depends upon the age of the subducting plate. Why? Because with age, the crust become cooler, denser, and thicker. Okay, so with time, the cooling, the denser and thicker, the thermal boundary of the ocean crust, if you measure, there are calculations and there are people do that what is the thickness of the crust, and the thickness of the crust increases with the age of the crust. Am I clear? Now, if you increase the age and thickness of the crust, with more age, because it is denser, it will try to sink with more angle than a younger crust which is less dense and the less thick, which will not be sinking at a steeper slope, but it will go in a more gentler slope. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now,
please repeat.
Actually, what I am saying, that this behavior of the crust, that whether I am talking now about the subducting slab. Now, this subducting slab, it will be subducting at a steep angle or it will be subducting at a shallow angle. It totally depends upon the age of the subducting slab. Because with age, the subducting slab, oceanic crust, that actually हम लोग जो subduction हम लोगों को मिलता है, it is either a ocean subduction or ocean continent subduction. But subduction oceanic plate की ही होती है, always continental plate subduction नहीं होती है ना? Hello? We do not get subduction of continental plate because it is a less dense, and it cannot sink. We always get subduction of the oceanic plate. Now this subduction can be a ocean subduction, one oceanic plate going down another oceanic plate, or it can be a ocean continent subduction, that oceanic plate going under the continental plate. Both the possibilities are there. Now you tell me why one oceanic plate go below another oceanic plate? दोनों ही तो oceanic plate है. You got my point? How one oceanic plate goes below another oceanic plate. There are plenty example of ocean-ocean subduction. It is only because that one side of the oceanic plate which is subducting that is more dense and that is of higher age. So because of its higher density and because of its higher thickness, it try to sink into the relatively younger overriding plate which is of younger age and of lesser density. Okay? Now, in this case, what I am saying, that the inclination of subduction, that when you have a more denser crust that will be subducting, it will try to sink very steeply or very quickly and steeply, it will try to sink. Whereas a younger crust that will not be such steep dipping subduction, that will be more gentle dipping subduction. This is what I was trying to say. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now how the two things, there are two things here. One is for the plate 1 that we call the rate of subduction. And another thing, what we will talk about the plate 2, that we call the rate of convergence. Siddhi? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What I am saying, that there are two rates here. Rate of convergence, whoever was talking earlier, the rate of convergence, and he was telling that rate of convergence is for plate 1. No. Rate of convergence is for the overriding plate. Rate of subduction is for the downgoing plate. Okay? And these two rates that basically control that how this portion will behave. How this portion will behave. Now, there are 3 different cases because there are 2 rates. At what rate it will, suppose it is R1, and at what rate it will be converging towards the trench, that is R2. So R1 is the rate of subduction, R2 is the rate of convergence of the overriding plate towards the trench. Okay? So there can be 3 cases. R1 more than R2, R1 equal to R2, R1 less than R2. 3 केस हो सकता है. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Fine. Now when R1 more than R2, when it will be R1 equal to R2 and when R1 will be less than R2. There are 3 cases. When R1 will be more than R2, that will be when the subducting slab, it is old and dense. Old and dense. Then the subduction will be steep angle. And if it is steep angle, the arc trench gap, that will be low. That will be around 50 kilometer, 50-60 kilometer. Because it is steep angle and this arc will be close to the outer arc. The volcanic arc will be close to the outer arc. Arc trench gap will be small. And because it is exceeding this, so the rate at which it is going down, in the same rate, it is not converging to the trench. So what will happen? To match it, it will get extended. It will try to extend itself to match this rate. So what you will expect? First, the arc trench gap will be low and there will be extension at the back of the arc. Extension at the back of the arc, and you will be opening a back arc basin. A back arc basin. Pacific, West Coast is a typical example. Am I clear what I am saying? If the subducting slab is old, dense, and thick, then it will subduct at a high angle. Any angle of subduction more than 35 to 40 degrees is a high angle. Am I clear?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Now, if it is a high angle, then the rate of subduction will exceed the rate of convergence. And if the rate of subduction exceeds the rate of convergence, then what will happen? The arc trench gap will be narrow, the volcanic arc will be close to the outer arc, and there will be extension at the back of volcanic arc so that the back arc basin will open because it will be extended. Now, what will happen if R1 is equal to R2? That means rate of subduction and rate of convergence, they are matching one another. One is not exceeding the other. Fine? Then we call it, that means both are, and then what I expect? What? So, sorry, one point I just missed. So what will happen in R1, first case R1 more than R2? I said that there will be extension. And that will result to the trench rollback. Trench rollback. What is trench rollback? Do you have idea what is trench rollback?
No, sir.
Yeah. So what is trench rollback? That you have the more subduction and it is not matching. So today, this portion of the trench is here. This is my trench. But if it's subducting in a higher rate compared to this subduction, so tomorrow this portion will be here. Day after tomorrow, this portion will be here. So trench is rolling back. More and this is more subducting, so trench is not stationary. If it is subducting more rapidly than the rate of convergence, then there is no question that the trench will remain stationary. So trench will continuously roll back. So the newer and newer position of the subducting slab, that will assume the trench position. That is called trench rollback. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that only happens when you have a higher subduction than the higher rate of the convergence, which is very typical to the Pacific, the western margin of the Pacific. Okay. Now we come on to that situation where the R1 equal to R2. What will happen? Trench will remain stationary because both the rate matching one another. Typical example is the Aleutian arc. Aleutian arc. Aleutian arc. Trench is stationary. And then if trench is stationary, in that case, the overriding plate, it will be a neutral. It will neither experience a extensional nor a compressional. So it will be a stationary situation, not a very dynamic situation. And by that situation, it can go for tens to hundreds of million years in a stable tectonic situation. Okay. Now we come on to when R1 is less than R2. That means it is a younger class. It is a young and light, relatively light. Then what will happen? The subduction in a gentle angle. Subduction in a gentle angle. So what will happen? In that case, the rate of convergence that will exceed the rate of subduction. Fine. So if rate of subduction, rate of convergence exceed the rate of subduction, so what will happen? There will be the more thrust that will come, and there will be no extension at the back of the forearc. The arc trench gap, it will be in the tune of 200 kilometers. The Forak volcanic arc will be far away from the outer arc, about 200, and there will be the formation of retro arc basin. Retro arc basin, which is on the continent. So instead of this, so this back arc will not be there. Instead, what we get, that we get the presence of this is a retro arc basin with presence of thrusts on the continental plate. The presence of thrust. This is called retro arc basin. So this has become a compressional zone now, because your R1, this is lower than R2, so it will obstruct. It is not going down, it will obstruct, and it is trying to push, but it is obstructing. So at the back, the compressional regime will form. Am I clear? Which is the part of Atlantic, Northern Atlantic. Any question here?
So please repeat the compressional part.
Yeah, what I am saying, that now the subduction, that is of younger and relatively lighter oceanic crust. Okay, so if subduction is very gentle and relatively lighter oceanic plate, then what will happen, that the R1, that is the rate of subduction, that will be relatively low, because it is not so dense that it will quickly sink. It is relatively light crust, so it will not sink very quickly, and the rate of subduction, that will be R1, will be low. Now, if the rate of convergence, because these are two different plates, as I said earlier also, there are two different controls. So it will be subducting at a low angle. That doesn't mean that the rate of convergence will go down. That will not go down, because that is independent, that is overriding plate. Rate of convergence is now higher than the rate of subduction. Right? So rate of convergence, what is rate of convergence? So the rate at which the overriding plate is trying to go towards trench. Because the ultimate aim kya hai? That we should make the trench to be static, or the trench should be existing, so that subduction goes on. Isn't it? Now, when the rate of convergence is high, but the rate of subduction is not high, then what will happen? The downgoing slab, that will actually obstruct the rate of convergence of the overriding plate. So if it obstructs, then what will happen, that at the back, there will be compressional regime, or the formation of retro arc, that will be formed. And what is retro arc? This is nothing but that a compressional repeat, formation of a orogenic belt, formation of thrust, and the thrust of basins, and the formation of the retro arc. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So there are three different kind of conditions that may arise.
Excuse me.
And there are a number of basins, because we are ultimately talking about sedimentation and tectonics. And there are a number of type of basins. Number one, the trench basin. Number two, the outer arc basin. Then I have written fore arc basin. I had written back arc basin, and also retro arc basins. So many types of basins that can open. So many types of basins that can open. Now, what will be the sedimentation pattern of these basins? Now, you can see basically the sedimentation pattern of these basins, that will depend upon whether it is a ocean-ocean subduction or it is ocean-continent subduction. If it is an ocean-ocean subduction, then the entire system will be essentially very, very starved. very, very stark, because there is no continental derivation of sediment. The only sediment supply is from the volcanic arcs. So you will only get either the outer arc, that is the ophiolitic sediment, or from the sediment from the volcanic arc. If it is a ocean sediment, there is no supply of continent. But if a subduction, it is an ocean continent subduction, in that case, there will be some role of the continent to play. So it is not a uniform sedimentation in these basins. It depends upon whether it is an ocean or it is an ocean continent. In case of ocean, that is essentially stark and will not get any supply from the continent. In case of the ocean continent, you will get supply from the continent as well. Now I will come one by one. Suppose first coming on to the trench basin. Now what is trench? What is trench? If you see what is the depth of MORs, anyone can tell me? जो mid oceanic ridge होती है, इसका water depth कितनी होती है? At what depth we get the mid oceanic ridges? Hello?
Sir, around 3,000 kilometers.
Yeah, almost right. About 2,500 meter. 2,000, not kilometer. 3,000 kilometer तो बहुत हो गया. Actually 2.5 kilometer. 3,000 किलोमीटर बोल रहे थे तुम. तुम अर्थ के कोर में पहुंच जाओगे.
Sir, meter.
Meter, yes. So it is 2.5 kilometer. That is the average depth of mid-oceanic ridges. But what is the depth of the ocean basin? जो ocean floor की depth कितनी होती है? That is about 4,500 meter. That is the 4.5 kilometer. That means what I was discussing earlier, that the crust is formed and then it thermally relaxed and subsided, and that is why when the mid-oceanic ridge crust is forming at 2,500 meter, 2.5 kilometer, and then it subsides and the ocean basin gets a depth of 4,500 meter, 4.5 kilometer. Fine. And when you go to the trench, the depth, it may go up to 10,000 meter, 10 kilometer depth तक ocean trench जा सकता है, 10,000 meter or 10 kilometer. Which is the classical example, the Mariana Trench. Mariana Trench, which is the about depth recorded, highest depth recorded. Now, what is a trench? Is it a fracture? What is a trench? Is it a fracture? Hello?
The deepest rift zone.
ना वो फ्रैक्चर है क्या? ये जो प्लेट सबडक्टिंग स्लैब नीचे जा रहा है, वो कैसे नीचे जा रहा है? वो वहां पर कोई गड्ढा, इज देयर एनी गड्ढा तो विद इन दैट द प्लेट इज एंटरिंग? ट्रेंच है क्या? व्हाट इज ट्रेंच? वो तो डेप्थ होती है, वो तो पता है, बट ये गड्ढा बनते कैसे है? कैसे? Anyone has any idea that क्या होती है? मेरे को आइडिया नहीं है. I do not know. I want to know from you people. This is my question. Trench, what is trench? Is it a fracture? Is it a गड्ढा? क्या है? प्लेट नीचे जाती कैसे है? Suddenly what prompts plate to go inside?
Density variation की वजह से.
डेंसिटी वेरिएशन से वो एक नीचे चला जाएगा, ऐसे थोड़ी होती है. दिस विल बी ए वन असाइनमेंट. ओके, जो मैं ये करूंगा, मेरे को समझाना होगा प्लेट अंदर जाते कैसे है. आई डू नॉट नो. अब मैं आई कैन ओनली विजुअलाइज टू सिचुएशन. देयर इज अ गड्ढा जहां पर नीचे जा रहा है, और देयर इज ए फ्रैक्चर, वो फ्रैक्चर में नीचे जा रहा है. ना वो फ्रैक्चर है ना वो गड्ढा है, और नीचे जा कैसे रहा है? ये मेरे को समझ में आता नहीं है. यू पीपल विल राइट एन असाइनमेंट. इट विल बी वन ऑफ द टॉपिक ऑफ द असाइनमेंट. तो एंड विल मेक मी अंडरस्टैंड. ओके, एनीवन कैन टेल मी how the slab goes, but that the slab is going inside, how we come to know that? That the slab is going inside, how we come to know that? Hello. That there is a subduction and the plate is going down. How we come to know that?
So formation of accretionary prism.
Huh? Formation of?
Accretionary prism.
ना फॉर्मेशन ऑफ एक्रीशनरी वो तो थ्रस्ट हो रही है, उससे प्लेट नीचे जा रहा है, कैसे समझेंगे? Anyone can answer it, that the plate is going down. How we come to know? What is that signature that made us to believe that yes, plate is going down?
तो volcanic arcs दिखते हैं.
नहीं जी, it is the distribution of earthquakes. Okay, there is a series of earthquakes, and when we trace the epicenter of the earthquakes and the boundary of the earthquakes, what we call the Benioff zone. Now, what is Benioff zone? Benioff zone is a zone which marks the concentration of the earthquake. There are shallow focus earthquake, there are deep focus earthquake. When we call the deep focus earthquake, when the focus of the earthquake is more than 200 kilometers. What is shallow focus? It is less than 30 kilometers. And intermediate is 30 to 200. So we get from shallow to deep focus earthquake, which are concentrated, and if you see the entire globe of the earth, then there are some zones where the earthquakes are distributed. They are concentrated alongside zones. These are all the subduction zones where the earthquakes are concentrated. And we call it Benioff zone. And basically the two boundaries of the Benioff zone that basically mark the downgoing subduction plate boundary. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So the only signature by which we come to know that the plate is subducting, that is, of course, there is some debate with that. I am not going into that debate. तब तो और भी मुश्किल होगा. But if the common knowledge concerned that the subduction is going on, that we get from the distribution of the Benioff zone. And the boundary of the Benioff zone, they mark the boundary of the subducting plate. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Now, what will be the sedimentation of a trench? Sedimentation of the trench, that is, क्या कहते हैं sedimentation of the trench को? Trench is actually क्या है? It is a very starved system. So essentially the trench sediment, it will be marked by the shell, the black shell, gray to black shell. And we call these sediments as melange. सुने हो melange? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What is melange? Melange is it is the assemblage of rootless boulders of carbonate, ultramafic, basalt into a shelly matrix. So what happens in the trench, that you get basically the shell and some blocks which are broken from this outer arc that can fall into it, and that forms the sediment, that is the typical sediment that is called melange. The rootless boulders, they are called olistostome. Olistostome. What they call? The rootless boulders are called olistostome.
सर मेलांज का क्या assemblage बताया था आपने?
It is a rootless boulders. You can write rootless boulders of ultramafic, carbonate, chert, basalt, set in homogeneous or deformed shelly matrix. That is the definition of melange. These rootless boulders are called olistostome. And if the matrix is homogeneous, then you call it a sedimentary melange. If the matrix is deformed, then you call it a tectonic melange. So melange again is two types. One is sedimentary melange, another is tectonic melange. Okay. Now we come on to, so this is the, so what is trench? Trench is essentially a starved system and is represented by gray to black shell and contains some rootless boulders which are called olistostome. That is the typical sedimentation pattern of trench. Now, I have also marked some outer arc basin. Now, what is outer arc? Outer arc is the scrapped oceanic crust. What is outer arc? That as the subduction goes on, from the downgoing plate, the oceanic crust gets scrapped and get emplaced right onto the downgoing slab. So, hota kya hai? This is the first thrust. Next thrust will come below it. Third thrust will come below 2. So newer and newer thrust that will come, newer and newer thrust will come like this. And this will be the older thrust. So as new thrust will come, the entire thrust sheets, they will rotate and this will become more steeper slope. So more and more shoal thrust that will come. And that makes the outer arc. So outer arc is essentially kya hai? That it makes the slope of the trench. It makes the slope of the trench. So outer arc is basically the slope of the trench. So one slope of the trench is marked by the outer arc only. Hello, you are understanding? Hello?
Yes, sir.
So what is happening here? That the material is scrapped from the downgoing slab and it is forming a thrust, the small scale shoal thrust at the back and a thrust belt, which is typically our Andaman Island, which is the outer arc. The Indian plate is subducting on the west of the Andaman Island. And the thrust system, which has been thrusted on the Indian plate, subducting Indian plate, that is now what you see the Andaman Islands. It is the outer arc, nothing but the ophiolites. The ophiolite succession, thrusted ophiolite slices that has been emplaced and that between this thrust, you actually open some small scale basins, which are called the outer arc basins. Now, what is happening? If you have a outer arc, downgoing जो slab, वो उसके नीचे चला गया ना? It is now below the outer arc, na?
Yes, sir.
And then this entire outer arc, this will create this thrust on the emplacement that will call a flexural bend at the front of it. That is what is fore arc. So any thrust that will cause a flexural bend, this flexural bend, that is actually the fore arc. So what is happening? Now you have thrusted material from it and there is a subsidence. वो subductive जो slab है वो तो इससे नीचे से जा रहा है. इसके ऊपर from the material that is scrap that has formed the thrust and the flexural bend. So what is happening? Is there any gadda? No, na? You are getting my point, what I am trying to say? Hello.
No, sir.
What is the problem? Where is the problem? मैं क्या बोल रहा हूं? That a plate is subducting and the material is scrapped from that plate and getting emplaced onto that plate only. Scrapping हो रही है ना?
Yes, sir.
Now this scrapping is making a kind of assemblage on the top of the downgoing plate. Now because of this scrapping, there will be a flexural bend, which is actually the fore arc. And the material. So if this is the plate, this when it comes to the, so there is geotherm. This is how the geotherm goes. You understand geotherm, na?
Yes, sir.
So so when it reaches to 30 to 70 to 80 kilometer, so this plate then starts producing the melt. And we get the volcanic arc. So what I am saying that you have to give me an assignment, what is a trench and how this, I will not go into detail. मैं और नहीं बोलूंगा, असाइनमेंट में तुम लोग जमा करो. Okay, now what will be the sedimentary product of the outer arc? The outer arc will mostly get sediment from this thrust block, and these thrust blocks are basically, they are the ophiolite slices, which has the ultramafic, sheeted dike, pillow basalt, radiolarian chart, all these, that is the typical the ophiolite succession. So the oceanic crust, they are thrusted, and the basins which will be basically bounded between them, they will be getting filled from the sediment that it will receive from the thrusted block. So here you will get sandstone, but this sandstone will not have any quartz grain. All the grains are of basalt, ultramafic and carbonate. One example of this kind of basin that is, I can give you, that is the, in Andaman stratigraphy, you will get the Mithakari formation, which is this kind of a trench slope basin and is getting filled by the sediment from the thrusted block. Now coming on to the fore arc, where from it gets the sediment? Core arc gets the sediment either from the volcanic arc or from the outer arc. So from the volcanic arc, what kind of sediment core arc will receive? It will receive the volcanic lithic clast. The volcanic lithic clast. मैं जब petrography पढ़ाया था and tectonic discrimination, I discussed these things. That what kind of sediment I will expect from in a core arc. We will expect the volcanic lithic clast. So quartzolithic sediment that I will expect. It will also receive the sediment from the outer arc. But if for this situation, it is in a ocean continent system. Suppose I am getting a ocean continent system. So distally, this system may be related to the continent. Suppose today the Andaman Sea is a core arc, but this Andaman Sea is connected to the Bay of Bengal. So because it is the ocean continent subduction. So if it is ocean continent subduction, then what happens that the continental derived delta that can also supply sediment into the core arc. But in a ocean, that possibility is not there. It will only get sediment from the volcanic arc and the outer arc. And that is a completely the lithic sandstone. But if you have the continent ocean, then the distal delta can also supply into the core arc, and it will get the quartzolithic sandstone. Mostly, what kind of sedimentary environment we get? We get submarine fan. We get submarine fan in this kind of situation. And the typical example of submarine fan in a core arc, that is the Andaman fleece sediment. Andaman fleece. We get the submarine fan. So the turbidites, mass flows, these are very common, whether you are in the outer arc basin or in the core arc basin. These are mostly the sedimentation in the form of mass flows of different rheology. Suppose debris flow, grain flow, the mud flow, then turbidity current, then the liquefied flow, all these different kinds of mass flows that will dominate in this system. And you can also get the submarine fan. Now at the back of the volcanic arc, you have the two kinds of one. I talked about the back arc basin, and I talked about the retro arc basin. Two kinds of situation. One is the extension, another is compression. If it is a back arc, then the back arc, the extreme cases of extension, the back arc also it starts spreading. So you get ophiolites in the back arc as well. Back arc also spreads. And if back arc starts spreading, then the original subduction margin that gets inactive. Back arc takes the major role. You have heard about these volcanoes, active volcanoes in India, the Barren and Narkandam volcano. Barren has again started erupting. In last 15 days, do you know that? Barren is erupting for last 15 days. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
कहाँ पढ़े? कहीं न्यूज पढ़े बैरन इरप्ट कर रहा है?
Sir, news में.
न्यूज में था. Okay. So Barren has started again. It is mostly the gas that is coming out. The lava has not yet come properly. And Barren erupts every 5, 6, 7, 10 years. Barren erupts. And this is all because of the subduction of the Indian plate. Now, there is a debate that what is Barren? Barren का magma कहाँ से आ रहा है? Barren is actually a volcanic arc which is basically getting the magma from the downgoing Indian plate, or Barren is actually the back arc magma. That the back arc is spreading, and that's why that volcano I am getting in the form of Barren. So there is a debate. Many people believe that the Barren is actually a volcanic arc. Many people also believe, no, Barren is not a volcanic arc, but it is actually a back arc. So debates are there. We are not going into that. But one thing is clear, that the back can spread. And when back spread, that also form ophiolite. So many of the ophiolites around the globe, some ophiolites are designated as mid-oceanic ridge ophiolite, some are designated as back ophiolite. How? On what basis we distinguish between the mid-oceanic ridge ophiolite and the back ophiolite? Any answer?
सर ये ओपियोलाइट्स वोल्केनिक ओरिजिन के होंगे?
वो भी तो वोल्केनिक ओरिजिन का ही है ना, दोनों ही वोल्केनिक ओरिजिन का है। असाइनमेंट करोगे इसमें? ये तो इग्नियस स्पेक्ट्रोलॉजी का असाइनमेंट हो गया, सेडिमेंटोलॉजी का असाइनमेंट नहीं है। बट प्लीज read all these things. How you distinguish between a mid-oceanic ridge ophiolite and a back ophiolite? लोग करते कैसे? दोनों ही वल्कनिज्म से होता है। देखो स्प्रेडिंग क्या है? What is a spreading? Basically the magma has to come out. That is what is spreading. और magma कैसे नहीं आएगा? Unless there is a volcanism, how magma will come out? Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So I do not know. देखो ये मैं तो igneous spectrologist हूँ नहीं, तो I do not know the answer. You people will tell me answer. That how mid-oceanic ridge ophiolite and back ophiolite they are distinguished.
So ophiolite तो abduction setting में मिलता है.
Yes, abduction. हाँ, you are right. Ophiolite तो abduction होते हैं.
एक्सपेक्ट कर सकते हो ophiolite से.
ओपियोलाइट से ही तो करोगे, और किससे करोगे? जो ओशन बेसिन, इसका जो ओशन फ्लोर, वो तो हम लोगों को मिलते हैं एज ओपियोलाइट करके ही ना। जो वोल्केनिज्म और बैकआर्क, व्हाट इज, सपोज इन द बैकआर्क देयर इज ए वोल्केनिज्म, वो वोल्केनिज्म फाइनली तो बैकआर्क बेसिन फॉर्म करेगा ना, इट विल फॉर्म द बैकआर्क बेसिन एंड द बैकआर्क ओशन फ्लोर. Back-arc ocean floor is not different from the volcanism in the back-arc. Whatever volcanism is happening, that is actually forming the back-arc ocean floor. Now that back-arc ocean floor, when got abducted, you get the back-arc oceanic crust. Similarly, in mid-oceanic ridge, you have a volcanism that is forming the normal ocean basin, and that is also getting abducted. You got my point?
सर जो आप बोल रहे हैं ऑब्डक्शन बाद की सेटिंग में होता है, कुछ और
एग्जैक्टली जब वोल्केनिज्म होती है, जो वोल्केनिज्म होती है, दैट वोल्केनिज्म मेक्स द क्रस्ट ऑफ दैट बेसिन, होती है ना?
यस सर.
सो नाउ सपोज आई हैव गॉट टू ओपियोलाइट्स, एक ओपियोलाइट, वन ओपियोलाइट दैट इज ऑब्डक्टेड फ्रॉम द वोल्केनिज्म ऑफ मिड ओशनिक रीज, and another ophiolite that is abducted after the volcanism in the back. Now when I get two ophiolite in the geological succession, how I identify this is a ophiolite of mid-oceanic ridge origin or this is a ophiolite on the back arc origin? That is my question.
ओके सर.
Now in the back arc again, is it a starved? It gets the sediment either from the volcanic arc or from the distant continent. So essentially what I will expect, that it will a pelagic shell, some carbonate, and then the volcanics you may get, but it will not get much of the sediment unless there is an active continental system with a proper topography, climate and drainage. So if I have a continent with a proper topography, climate and drainage in the continent, then you get the supply from the continent in the back arc, otherwise you do not get. And what about the retroarc? Retroarc is a system of a orogenic belt, and that is completely in the form of the thrust sheet and the supply of the sediment from the thrust sheet. That is the retroarc. So there is complete difference that when so what I am saying, I just write it. I am saying if I have a backup, so there can be two systems. If it is a ocean continent. In this case, it will be essentially starved. So you get supply from volcanic arc, or it will be the shale, volcanic arc, it will be shale or carbon. In case ocean continent, then you get the shale, volcanic rock to rahega hi. Along with that, the continent derived. It depends upon the physiography, climate, drainage. All these in the continental part that basically will control that what sediment that will be supplied in the backup. Clear? Now, retro arc. What I am saying? Retro arc. In the retro arc, what I am getting? It is a thrust belt. So you get the thrust sheet derived sediment. Thrust sheet derived sediment that will be getting in the retro arc. Okay. Any question?
So physio-climate drainage मतलब वही delta deposit.
No, I am telling, yes, delta तो होगा ही, otherwise continent से कैसे आएगा? River system ही supply करेगा. So river system and what is the amount of sediment that will depend upon the river system in the continent. Suppose you are in a very dry climatic area, the whole thing is happening. Definitely there will be not much sediment from the continent, but you are in a humid tropical, so you have a huge rainfall in that area, you develop a river system, and in that case, but if it is a peneplain, suppose the topography in the adjacent continent is peneplain, then you do not expect the much of the sand that will come in the basin. But if it is a hilly terrain or it is a higher topography, then again that will be more weathering and more sediment will be supplied. So that's what I was trying to say. Hello?
Okay, sir.
Okay. So with this, I am ending the course. Two things I have not discussed, which I will give assignment. One is orogenic belt basin, collision zone, and orogenic belt basin that I have not discussed. And another that I deliberately not discussed, that is strike slip basin. These two will go in assignment. Okay. There will be not a single assignment that will be given to all of you. How many total student? 40.
So 44.
44. I will try to give 44 assignment. If I fail to do that, at least I assure you I will give 30 to 35 different topics of assignment. But I will try my best that everyone get a new assignment. No one there should not be any repetition of one assignment to other. Okay. So with this, I am ending the theory class. You are free to ask me question, anything, any question, either through mail or through WhatsApp. I will be responding. You can call me also. You have my WhatsApp number. There is no issue. We will give you assignment that you will be submitting, and you have to give me a date for our personal interaction. What is the date? You are supposed to tell me today.
Sir,
Hmm.
sir, we have discussed, sir, everyone is saying 10th of August.
10th of August. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. 10th of August at क्या डे क्या होता है 10th of August?
Sir, Tuesday.
Tuesday. Okay. So 10th of August, we can meet at 10.
Okay, sir.
हाँ,
Yes, sir.
तो वो लिंक जनरेट कर लेना तुम लोग. यही लिंक चलेगा क्या? उस दिन भी चलेगा ये लिंक? हेलो.
Yes, sir.
हेलो.
So we will share you the link.
Okay. 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 So 10th of August we will be meeting, and next Monday or Tuesday I will give the assignment topic. मेरे को थोड़ा time लगेगा to list all these so many assignment topic. थोड़ा time लगेगा. So I will make it. एक दो दिन देर हो सकता है to make the list, but I will share it. Okay.
सर असाइनमेंट कब तक सबमिट करना है? आप क्या एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं डेट?
ले लो 7-10 दिन ले लो. तुम लोग का ये सेशन एंड कब हो रहा है ऑफिशियली? हेलो.
तो पहले तो एग्जाम का शेड्यूल आया था तो 3 अगस्त का था लगभग.
3 अगस्त was the end of this semester.
यस सर.
Okay. So let us keep it that 3rd August. So today is 23rd July. So actually there is another 7 to 10 days. 7 to 10 days. So basically होगा क्या? I am telling you that once the 3rd August will be going, that university will start pressurizing us. ये दे दो, वो दे दो. So we need to complete all the exercise latest by 10th of August. Okay. So 10th of August हम लोग सब खत्म कर लेंगे so that I can give something to the university. Because university जैसे ही 3rd अगस्त हो जाएगा वो इधर उधर करने स्टार्ट करेगा. ठीक है. उससे पहले असाइनमेंट और ये सब कर लेना ही बेटर होगा. पर असाइनमेंट 10 दिन ले लो, पर 10 days यू गिव द असाइनमेंट. ठीक है. ओके.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
अच्छा, कृति इज ऑनलाइन.
Yes, sir.
कृति वो अटेंडेंस भेज
Sir,
देना.
Yes, sir. मैं शाम तक भेज दूंगी. sir,
ओके
आपको.
ओके ओके. So hope that I could transmit something on sedimentology in the theory class. Do not know that how much I could tell you, but I tried my best in the online जितना possible हो सकता है. We tried. It is up to you to tell me that whether something I could tell you or not. Okay, that we will discuss on 10th of August. Bye.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Bye, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.